it's Phil Ratcliffe with Rebel Financial, and thanks so much for tuning in again and sharing some of your Friday with us. Today, we've got a great guest, Karen Sullivan for Sullivan Solutions.
Yay.
Thanks so much for being here, Karen.
Thank you.
So just to give you a little bit of intro to Karen, she's run her business, Sullivan Solutions, for over 21 years, 4 years working with NABO, and you've been in the industry since 1996. So that is a lot of experience. I saw a few different companies there. So
I've had a lot of great clients. I actually, I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur. I grew up in a family business.
Wow.
I have never not been working. It was literally the cradle in the office story. But
so you had to go see your parents at work.
Pretty much, pretty much. And it was, don't talk to me now, go make yourself useful. But that translates to just a total love for small business, absolutely dyed in the wool.
And a good understanding, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So that's what it's all about.
Awesome. So I think marketing is tossed around a lot, sales and marketing and advertising, but really, what is marketing? What does it mean? And why is it important, not just for big brands like Nike and Amazon and so, but for the rest of us?
Right. That's a really good question. I think marketing has sort of come to be this all-encompassing term that used to be all about advertising,
Sure.
Mad Men and all that kind of stuff. But marketing at this point, I think is anything that greases the wheels, anything that makes it easier for you to do business with the people you need to reach. And that can be anything from a really tight brand and video and expensive advertising to just some simple things like a consistent logo and consistent messaging.
Yeah.
So it is all over the board. I have always said that marketing touches every aspect of your business. There's nothing it doesn't touch, because if the customer sees it, then
it's part of your image.
It's part of your image. It's part of what you're selling, and marketing can improve that.
And I mean, a lot of people, I think, now that we're more intelligent and we've read a lot about things, and a lot of us would like to think that we don't make flash stereotypical judgments, we wouldn't be able to live our lives with the amount of data that are out there without doing that. And people are going to make snap judgments about your companies with whatever the first few things that they see, and then they will continually update that if they have a relationship with you after that, right?
Absolutely. And it's harsh. It's harsh. First impressions do count. So anything you can do to streamline that and to create that consistent recognition for your customers.
That's positive.
Is positive.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe not like a Trump recognition of negative.
But people pay attention.
Oh, I'm not.
And so,
his brand is worth so much more than probably any other individual person.
That's absolutely true. And the lesson to learn there is, he's the first president in history to literally have one-on-one relationships with the voters.
Yeah.
He really is. And that's what every brand, every company is facing, that kind of communication.
Sure.
One-on-one. It's not mass marketing anymore. It's that one-on-one relationship with somebody who might vote for you or somebody who might buy from you.
No, I mean,
I agree.
agree.
That's what you're doing here. You're creating one-on-one relationships.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to that point, we talked about branding. And I think a lot of small businesses don't think branding is as important to them. But what is branding, and why is it important?
Branding is huge. And conversely, it can be as small as simply deciding to use the same typeface every time you send a letter.
Yeah.
If you're sending a letter out one time with a Times New Roman and the next time it's in Arial, that's two different visual communications, two different visual messages you're sending. It can literally be that simple. So while it's really fun and exciting and sexy to work on a big brand and go down the path of Coke versus Pepsi and all those stories, I really coach my clients, if you do nothing else, be consistent with those visual messages. Do the same thing every time. You don't have to have a big fancy logo if that really doesn't fit in your business plan. At least be consistent in how you represent the company.
Yeah.
Same way every time, just be consistent. And that's really what branding is all about.
So it's interesting because I've got a couple analogies from our industry. And when I work with attorneys or accountants, and so like attorneys especially love this one. It's where they say if you don't have an estate plan, you've still got an estate plan. It's just whatever the state law and the courts say it is. And the same thing on the tax. If you don't have a tax plan, then you're just paying Uncle Sam whatever Uncle Sam says you're going to pay them, which is probably not going to be the best outcome for you. So I would say the same thing with branding. You don't not have a brand. You just don't have a good one.
Right. And the question is it working for you or is it working against you?
Yeah.
And you just want to make sure that whenever you get those choices, it's working for you.
Sure. Okay. So maybe share with us a couple, maybe one or two tips or stories or what so that may be able to help our viewers.
Well, I mentioned that I absolutely am passionate about working with small businesses, and that's really what it's all about for me. And in fact, I don't even like the term small business because for anybody who has one, it's big business. It's bigger than life. It tends to run your life. But what I see over and over again is those same people who are pouring blood, sweat, and tears into their businesses trying to make it work. They know everything about their business. They know what they're selling. They know all the features that are important to their customers. But very, very often they forget to turn it around and take into consideration what their customers are really buying. And it's not the same thing.
The why.
It's the why.
The emotion. Yeah.
And it is the emotion.
Yeah.
And you hear features versus benefits tossed around a lot. But the benefit of your product to me is very different from the features of the plan or the product that you're selling.
Sure.
So turning it around, one of my favorite stories, I've got a client who's a friend of Mark Cuban's, and she does, probably to Mark's chagrin, what every friend of Mark Cuban probably does. She picks up the phone. Hey, Mark, I've got this wonderful business idea. I want to go on Shark Tank. First question, okay, what are you selling? And she has a wonderful vision for her product.
Yeah.
It's socially very socially conscious. It's a wonderful vision. So she's going in and, we're going to change the world with this, just like every other entrepreneur. And he comes back to her and he says, yeah, but what am I buying?
Yeah. What's the business? Yeah.
And that's completely different, and that's what people forget. So what am I buying out of all that?
Yeah. It's interesting how many people have good or great ideas. And a lot of times, I think even a lot of us have seen something on TV or something. You're like, I had that idea lots of years ago. Well, where was it? Why didn't it develop? Why didn't it happen?
Right.
And so, in that respect, I think human beings are awesome as a whole. But it is interesting to me how small of a percentage of people turn that into a successful client-serving idea versus just an idea.
It's like so many other things. That's in the execution.
Sure.
And that comes back to you've got that wonderful idea. The other thing I think I see happen probably as much as anything, I hear all the time, well, I tried this for marketing, or I've spent so much money on marketing, it didn't work. I was talking to a client yesterday, and we were talking about her financials. And she said, I've been running the numbers and looking at this, but I can see over 2 years now, I see absolutely no correlation between the amount of money I spend in marketing and the amount of sales I bring in.
Yeah.
There's no correlation whatsoever. And I said, okay, well, let's talk about this a minute. What are you dumping into that marketing budget? What are those line items in there? Well, we've got web hosting, and we've got stationery, and I'm like, okay, couple of associations. I've got my NABO membership. I've got my Bar Association membership. Okay, I understand your bookkeeper probably wants those to go under the marketing bucket.
Sure.
But this is the
really like administrative expenses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the 21st century. That's the cost of doing business.
Sure.
So the difference between whether you're paying $0 for a free Wix website with no hosting or dedicated hosting on Rackspace can literally be thousands of dollars, and there's no difference. So,
well, if you had a lot of traffic, it would be a big
if you had the traffic, but a lot of people
don't.
They
don't.
So, at the lower end, it doesn't matter how much you spend necessarily in that
for
illustration.
most small business owners. Yeah.
So, are you doing the right things, and are you executing, and are you taking care of what the marketing is doing for you? And a lot of times people,
they're not being efficient at it.
They're not being efficient, and they don't pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of Living Social and Groupon promotions, and people say, oh, you know,
you got to pick the right ones.
You got to pick the right ones.
Yeah, because a lot of them are garbage, but there's some gems out there.
There are, and I've had clients who have, if you look at the numbers, the number of new businesses, or the number of new business, the number of new clients that have walked through the door because of those promotions is astounding.
And if you really get into it, you need to ask new clients really how they found you, or you're not going to know what the ROI really was.
You do.
Yeah.
But you know what? Once you get them in the door, that's when it flips over to sales. That's when it flips over to customer service.
Sure.
That's an operations issue.
Yeah.
And you've got to take care of them once you're in there.
Yeah, because customer experience is part of your brand and experience as well. Yeah,
it absolutely is. So you can't waste your marketing dollars on not executing on the back end either. So.
Yeah. I think companies that are really successful at that, their referrals are probably more valuable than the money they spent on getting them in the door in the first place.
Absolutely.
And that is an important part of your marketing and branding and customer experience as well too. And that, I totally agree, that goes in the marketing category, not just in operations.
Yeah.
You know, well, you could categorize a certain percentage of it. The thing that everybody does is operations. The thing that you do above and beyond that makes you awesome is marketing.
Right.
You know,
and it's the things that grease the wheels. Back to, what is marketing? It's the thing, anything that greases the wheels to bring in people.
So let me ask you one last question. Since we're doing this, like, how do you feel about video and social media? Because I personally, when I think about my small business clients, they're very polarized on that. Some people are like, yeah, it's great. I connect with a lot of people.
Right.
I have a lot of people on there. I hate social media. It's an intrusion into my life. I don't want to participate into it. I don't need it. I've got a successful business. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, believe it or not, I still have clients that try to say that about websites. Okay, so
it's like not being in the phone book in the 80s, or let's say.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I think you have to do it, and it's very generational. There's an age element to it. If you're selling to the boomers, maybe aren't quite. But no, I'll take that back.
It's changed.
It's changed. Just do it.
My great-grandma is on Facebook, but she wants to see grandchildren and great-grandchildren's lives. And how often do you get to do that with most families?
That's
like
right.
Once a year, maybe? But with that, you could see every week. So I even think, the older generations, if they have family, are going to get converted over. Maybe not to Twitter and Google Plus. Well, does anybody use Google Plus? but Facebook, for sure.
Facebook, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually coach my clients that's what the internet was maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
More people are on Facebook now. They're probably not having an internet experience significantly outside of Facebook.
Yeah.
So
they just want to look at pictures and videos, but they're still going to see the ads from local businesses or recommendations from their friends that had a good experience with something. So.
And that is huge. So just do it. Figure it out and
call you.
Call me.
So how do people get in contact with you?
People can find us www.sullivans.com.
Up here, we'll post it down below as well too.
We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're even on Google Plus, but
we are too. But we don't get
Google.
any interaction there, right?
That's right?
You need it for your Google local business or what?
Yeah. So we are not hard to find. We're located in Dublin, even the old-fashioned way, 799-1670. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here, Karen. I hope you guys learned a lot. We personally think it's very important. Look what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Marketing, branding, helping people, connecting with people is so very important to all of our lives, whether you're a business owner or not. So thank you so much again for spending a part of your week with us. We try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. But if you have any questions, email us, email Karen, post on our social media sites. Join in next week. We have another great guest, Anna Leeper. She's marketing coordinator for the Dublin's Arts Council. So it should be really interesting to kind of learn more about what they do and how she helps them. So again, have a fabulous weekend. Don't burn up out there, and we'll see you next week.